Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Alien vs. Predator Galaxy YouTube channel. This is Aaron Percival, aka Corporal Hicks.
And this is Adam Zeller, aka RidgeTop.
And we're back with another motion tracker news video. And it's something I've been looking forward to, actually. I've been looking forward to this moment. So what are we talking about, Adam?
So Marvel, on their socials and their website, have announced the first Alien comic, the launch of their Alien line. And we have the first details. Aaron, if you want to pull up our post about that.
Indeed. So
we got to look at the cover art as well, which I honestly think looks pretty good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. The tongue seems to
you typically don't see the inner jaws kind of do the little snake movements like that, like Tremors or something.
Now, the thing that gets... I was talking to Lee from Xenopedia earlier about it, actually, because I'm sure I've seen some other artist renditions of...
Yeah, there's been a few where it's kind of...
Bendy tongue.
Like
yeah. We can't remember where they're from, though, and it's annoying me because I'm going to be thinking about this for ages. I thought it was from the Alien... I thought there was one on the Aliens magazine line that they used to do in the UK in the 90s, and I couldn't see one, so I don't know where it's from. Anybody out there watching, if you know where the bendy tongue alien artwork's from, please let me know, because it is going to get on my nerves trying to think of it. This is from Guru EFX. I don't know if that's a person, a company, or what, because it doesn't seem to be referenced within the actual article. But aside from the tongue, that's, I think, a pretty decent rendition. I think that's a nice rendition of the alien.
Yeah, agreed.
Close that down, and we'll have a look at the actual details. So Marvel posted a press release.
So Marvel actually, they shared on their social media who the cover artist is. I guess he's a South Korean, so I might not do this name very well, but in Hyuk Lee. Okay. So he's mentioned on Marvel's Twitter post about the announcement.
I wonder what Guru EFX is then. Is it his artist name or something? Or
yeah, maybe.
Okay. So the Marvel post, the press release, did actually provide us with some details. You know, it's still not a lot. You don't tend to get a lot straight away, but we've got the creative team and we've got a little bit of the plot synopsis. So, written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, who also wrote Empire Captain America, with art by Salvador Larroca, who done Doctor Doom. Alien 1 will be a thrilling addition to the incredible legacy that began with the groundbreaking 1979 film. Featuring both new and classic characters from Earth and beyond, this bold take on the alien mythology will entertain both longtime fans and newcomers to the legendary horror sci-fi saga. The new story will feature a Weyland-Yutani mercenary named Gabriel Cruz as he battles a deadly new breed of xenomorph with the survival of his child hanging in the balance. No stranger to infusing horror with the classical Marvel storytelling, Philip Kennedy Johnson most recently shocked readers in the terrifying Marvel Zombies Resurrection series. So, immediate knee-jerk reaction to this, not really knowing the creative people involved in this, is that I'm just glad it's a Marvel Zombies writer. Because I know a lot of people were worried that it was going to be tamer. You know, the other knee-jerk reaction to Marvel having Alien is that it's going to be some kiddified, tamer effort. But, you know, this is something we've talked about when we do talk about Marvel taking over the license. You know, we did a podcast on it before in the past, and I guessed on that one, talked about the Hulk and how violent that series is. And Marvel have done horror. Marvel Zombies is about 10 years old, I think, and it's basically just a horror take on the series. You know, what happens when when their characters get zombified and, you know, everything goes to pot. That's something that Marvel's always been good at, the what ifs. But, you know, I don't know him. I haven't got experience with his stories. I did look up the series Marvel Zombie Resurrection on comics equivalent of Rotten Tomatoes, and it had a good result. You know, it was 7.7 for critical rating from other reviewers and stuff, and a 7.1 from user ratings.
So pretty decent.
So pretty decent, yeah. There is a little bit of concern here with the artist. So Marvel didn't get off to a good start with Alien. They got a fair bit of goodwill from the lineup for their first omnibus, but their original artwork from Greg Land, caused a big controversy with tracing and swiping artwork from Tristan Jones from official promotional pieces for products and stuff like that. Now, having not known who Salvador Larroca was, I did have a look, and unfortunately, on his Google page, on his Wikipedia page, it did talk about this guy had received criticism for tracing. Although, unlike Greg Land, the tracing that this guy's doing is from stills from the films rather than stealing other people's artwork. But it is still a bit of a no-no. Not so much a no-no as just stealing people's artworks, but
yeah, I wouldn't call it as egregious. I mean, different artists use references in different ways, and we saw that in the Prometheus Alien Predator and AVP crossover event in the Aliens comic with the Aliens Fire and Stone. You saw the NECA figures, and I believe the artist technique was to take different photographs and kind of collage them together with actors. And then he would use reference photos of the NECA figures. Now, I honestly did not like the look of that artwork too much myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that irritated the hell out of
it. It did, but that's just how some comic artists work, and it depends on how heavily it's done. I don't think it's as egregious as stealing other comic artists' work, and just blatantly like photoshopping over it. I expect artists to use reference. It's just about how it's used, and we'll see how it's used here, and hopefully we won't have an issue with it. This is the launch of Marvel's Alien line, so I'm really hoping it makes a good first impression. Again, I really like the cover. The cover is strong for a launch. The only thing that kind of concerns me at the story is the mention of like a new breed of xenomorph, and I'm like, are we really jumping into the bigger, badder thing right off the bat?
Yeah,
but hopefully not. Hopefully, maybe it's like an interesting use of the DNA reflex or something like that. But
you see, that was my immediate thought, was that they're jumping straight into DNA reflex. I mean, it is a huge part of, the alien and its morphology. But on the flip side of that, I also hate this bigger, badder thing. It was a problem I had with the Predator. So I hope it's just some sort of smarter, interesting use of the DNA reflex, because it did go away for a little bit from the expanded universe. And then it's made a bit of a resurgence lately. You had the lionworm hybrid in Echo. You had I can't remember the name of the creature, but in Aliens Phalanx, they used a specific creature in that to help them burrow in to the holds. So it has been interesting to see it make a resurgence. I don't think the comics have done it really. I mean, Dust to Dust had a vague mention of it, didn't it?
Yeah,
the designer pigs.
You mentioned it. We never saw it. So if it's an interesting use of the DNA reflex, then yeah, I'm all for seeing some of that. It is just kind of odd to jump right into that with a launch.
But then again, it says this is building on the existing sort of lore.
Yeah,
it
so I'm sure we'll
about
see standard xenomorphs in here as well. So
I just mean in terms of, perhaps they're just going in straight off the bat, building off of what they've already got. The synopsis talks about classic characters, so maybe it's not so much jumping straight in with it as building on
what it means by that. If it's talking about the film, or if they are going to continue stories and make reference to characters that Dark Horse had built up.
Well, that's the question, isn't it? And we'll not know for a little bit of time, because
not too much longer. March, I think, is when this is set to go.
The thing is, though, I'm scared in terms of movie characters. I don't want to see
the
Ripley or
Ripley retcon. Yeah.
So do they perhaps follow, that original Dark Horse trilogy setup? That could be interesting. That I would be interested in, to be honest. But in terms of, in terms of other stuff, the only real character I could think of that I would be happy with would be Morse, because I've been wanting to see Morse come back for a long time. So that could be interesting. But otherwise, I'm not really sure what. I mean, there's so many comic characters that they could get anybody. Are we having Herc Mondo back? Be a good way to start it off. If they're going
obscure for,
well, if they're going crazy DNA Reflex,
they want something for new readers as well as longtime fans. And so I think that means a character or two that even a new reader might recognize.
The mercenary angle, though, seems interesting, because I don't know why, but it gave me some vague flashbacks to the alien detective in Aliens No Exit. Cram, I think his name was, and he was a detective that worked for the company that specifically sort of just looked at alien infestations. And I don't know why, but it gave me, some flashbacks to that. So that could be interesting. And it naturally also make sure it includes some child in peril as well. We've got this guy's kid, so it does feel alien just off those couple of sentences. But it's not much to go on, but it's interesting to see where we're going. Another thing is, we don't know if this is going to be a limited or an ongoing series. Dark Horse traditionally did 4-5 issue long limited runs, self-contained stories, sometimes linked together. They made an effort with it with Defiance and Resistance and Rescue, Boo Rescue particularly, because that series just went downhill.
Yeah.
From Defiance all the way down to Rescue. Rescue was trash. So that's an interesting question, because the longer form storytelling with alien comics in the past has always
not really worked.
It started strong. Defiance started really strong, and that just went downhill. It just...
Well, sometimes you get the opposite. Like a couple of the recent comics I've read, both Thicker Than Blood and Hunters 3, I enjoyed both of them. But both of them I thought could be a little bit longer. So for me, 5 issues is about right. 4 kind of feels a little too short for me most of the time. I know that's like really standard when it's come to Dark Horse in this license. But who knows if Marvel's going to be doing something longer than we're used to, or hopefully there's a good middle ground there where it doesn't feel too drawn out like Defiance did, but it also doesn't feel too short.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how that works out in the end, actually, because, I mean, Defiance wasn't even their first attempt at a longer form, story. Colonial Marines, and the comic that was originally going to be like a 12-issue run, I think was reduced down to a 10, which is actually a lot better than I think people give it credit for. If you haven't read that one, that's worth having a look at. And
it's been a long time for me. I'm pretty sure I have, but I need to go back and just
have a look at it. That had some interesting stuff in it. And what was the other long one? Deadliest of Species. I forget how long that was, but that was a long AVP comic, and that was batshit crazy. That was not one I like to revisit very often.
Not one I've read for a long time either myself. I really need to just go back and burn through all the comics and refresh my memory, because I'm starting to miss those references you're putting out. I'm like, oh, damn, I need to get those omnibuses off the shelf and just read through them all again, because it's been a good minute for me for some of them.
But, you'll also, if you haven't managed to find the Dark Horse ones, you're going to have a chance with some of the omnibus coming out as well.
That's true. Yeah, very impressive lineup for
both
Marvel's
of them.
First, Alien and Predator. Thankfully, the Predator artwork seemed to be completely original, and it was solid. No
controversy from that one so far.
I know I get the attachment to Dark Horse, right? Like we've known their work in this license and appreciated it for 30 years. but it's not like every comic of theirs was a home run either. You know, they had their good ones, they had their bad ones, and they had their okay ones.
Well, I've just been slagging off Rescue, so
Yeah.
you know.
So I'm keeping an open mind. I'm excited for Marvel. I think it'll reach a new audience. I just hope it can please the longtime fans like us as well. And they do tell some risky stories. I'm sure this one will be more accessible, it being the launch. But I would like to see some bold stories in the future for sure.
Yeah, definitely. As it stands, I just want a solid start. You know, I'd like some good artwork. I'd like some good storytelling, and I'm hoping this new Gabriel character is going to be, you know, is going to be a strong one. Because as much as I slag off Defiance and Rescue, you know, I do like Zula. Dark Horse did bring out some interesting original characters. So
and she was developed as well in one of the novels, Prototype,
which was a solid read as well. You know, Prototype was good. But yeah, anything else to say on this one?
I believe the author had a couple words about working on this, didn't he?
Oh, yes. Actually, that's a fair point. Let me just go back. Okay, so what did he say? So this is from the writer. Adam, if you want to.
Yeah, he said, and again, this is by Philip Kennedy Johnson, who said, just as a reader and fan, I was as excited as anyone when I heard the franchise was coming to Marvel. And when they asked me to write the launch, I was floored. I've been training my whole life for this gig without knowing it, Johnson says. Ever since seeing Ridley Scott's Alien at a way too young age, I've been obsessed with the Xenomorph, the single most iconic representation of terror on film. Drawing this has been like a dream come true. Drawing
that's moving on to the artist, yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is from the artist. Drawing this has been a dream come true. I am so grateful to be part of the series, says LaRocca. Ever since I was young, Alien has been one of my favorite sci-fi horror references, and I could have never expected to have the chance to draw this. Alien is a creative reference to a whole generation of artists, and I'm so proud to now be illustrating this series. I hope readers enjoy it as much as I do drawing it. Philip's story is going to be a delight for fans of this awesome franchise. I've devoured every Alien story I could in every medium available and spent a lot of hours in the back of a classroom sketching out ideas for what happened before, after, and in between the chapters we got to see. Now I have the opportunity to bring my favorite nightmares to life. And with my insanely talented friends at Marvel and some of the greatest artists in comics telling these stories with me, I can promise you our nightmares will be yours. And then they say at the end, stay tuned for more exciting news about Alien and Predator comic book titles, variant covers, and collections coming your way next year. Interesting what they say with the in-between chapters there.
Well, I think that's him talking about fantasizing at school, isn't it, really? More than anything particularly to do with this.
Yeah.
And the only other thing we've got is that this is a March release next year. No actual release date yet, but March, so not far. 3 months.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Don't have too much longer to wait.
Indeed. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm interested to learn more. I am still a little worried about the tracing, because it just seems to have become a thing. A cloud hanging over the Alien under Marvel. So,
but again, you have to wonder. Like 99% of people are probably not going to know about that.
I know, but
it's the hardcore fans like us that are going to be irked by it. But
I mean, we've already got people on Twitter, haven't we? I mean, there's one particular comment here in reply to Tristan Jones, who was like, I feel like hiring somebody notorious for tracing after a controversy over tracing and theft isn't as smart from an editorial standpoint. So I feel like this is always going to be a cloud.
Yeah, again, though, I think there's a distinction to make between stealing others' art, especially fellow comic book artists, and if you're tracing, if you're using official media, it's not what I'd prefer. I just don't think it's as egregious. And again, it depends highly on how it's done. If enough there is altered to make it original enough, definitely not something I would be as angry about, though, as what landed with Tristan's artwork.
Yeah, that's fair. But like I say, it's just always going to be one of those things, I think, that's going to be hanging over Alien under Marvel.
And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. For me, it's kind of like, if you're drawing the alien, of course use reference. The alien is a complicated creature. Artists use reference, but give it your own spin. Don't trace it.
Yeah. I do not want to see that AVP promo piece.
Oh my God, yeah.
In this comic
or any. Just never use that again, please.
No, I'm sick of seeing that promo piece. Even in 40 years and 40 artists, that was used like 2 or 3 times.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I don't mean to belittle any of the artists involved in that book, but I'm like, you're contributing to a book on the 40-year anniversary of Alien, and you're taking the most used promo still, like the first thing that pops up on a Google search, you're going to go with that one. Okay. I mean, not my choice, but.
And just in case anybody's wondering.
Oh, you're going to show the most used.
This devilish piece.
I think that's literally like the Wikipedia picture for the Xenomorph.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't look, the render doesn't even go all the way down. It cuts off the legs. Evil design. Sick of seeing that. Anyway, like I said, looking forward to seeing what Marvel do. I have been since it was announced. I'm always going to miss Dark Horse, especially since they went out on such a strong note for AVP and Alien, not so much Predator. But all 3 series were undeniably strong visually, which we'll be talking about when we get around to doing our podcast reviews and my written reviews as well. So, that's we're always going to miss those.
Yeah, but this one, really good. Get this one, guys.
We really enjoyed that one. Yeah. And the illustrated screenplay for Alien was really good as well. You haven't got that one yet, have you?
No. I'm waiting for it's a hardcover for that one, is it not?
Yes. They did the same for Alien 3. But anyway, very keen to see where Marvel take it, and hopefully they take it somewhere good.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Just a few months to wait, and then we'll see how this is going to kick off with Marvel.
Indeed. Well, thank you everybody for watching. If you come to this not really knowing about who we are, you can see all our social links on the little banner down below. AVPGalaxy.net is the hub of our activity. It's our main website. All the other social aspects are there, and there's a message board on the main website as well if you'd rather talk 2000 style on a proper message board. Also, check out the rest of our YouTube channel. We've got editorial pieces, we've got lore pieces, we've got game stuff, let's plays. Our video podcasts are all on there as well. And be sure to check those out. And as always, we'd love to hear back from you. If you've got any thoughts on what we've talked about, any thoughts on the Alien series going forwards, pop them down below, and we'll get back to you. We'll talk to you. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave us a like. If you've hated the video, leave us a dislike. And share it around. I hope you enjoyed what we've got to offer, what content we've got to offer, and we'll see you next time we've got something to talk about. This has been Corporal Hicks
and RidgeTop
signing off.